Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to share with you my September beauty favorites. So if you guys are interested in hearing what I've been loving for September, then just keep on watching. Alright, so I don't have that many favorites this month. I'm looking at my little pile and it's so small. I feel like sometimes I have 15 things, sometimes I have 5 things. But everything that I pulled for my favorites, a lot of them I've been using every single day for September, and they're products I'm going to use daily for the rest of the year. I can already tell with some of these. And I'm going to start off with some eyeshadow palettes, and one is a palette that I've been wanting for so long. I wanted this palette probably over a year. Jaclyn Hill did a tutorial with it maybe a year and a half ago. It's the Colored Raine Queen of Hearts palette. So this was limited edition. It was out of stock forever and ever, and then they restocked it and made it permanent on the Colored Raine site. I did a get ready with me earlier this month using this palette. I love it so much. I just look at it and suddenly my life is happier. I have so much joy every time I just open this palette and see these colors. I'm whatever my problems are today, it's all gonna be okay because these are in my life. They're such beautiful colors. This shade, Royal Highness, this is what was all over my lid in that tutorial, and I also am obsessed with Your Majesty. I live for these two shades, and all the transition shades are everything you need. The shimmers and the mattes, they're just the perfect color combinations because there's nothing missing in this palette for me. You get a light shade, you get a couple light transition shades. I like that there's mattes that are both purple, orange, and brown, all 3 shades, which is great because it's not you can do a completely purple look that's more cool toned with no warmth, or you can warm it up, or you can go completely orange with it. They're just gorgeous shades. I love the shimmers in here, and especially the colors that they did pick out are very foiled and metallic. I am obsessed with this palette. It's a perfect palette for fall. I definitely recommend it if you guys want to get your hands on it. It's available on the Colored Raine site, and it is permanent. So I definitely recommend it because it was super hyped up when it came out last year, but I haven't heard anybody talk about it since then. So it's back in stock. It's permanent. Definitely check it out if you're interested in those shades. And then next, you guys know I like this palette. It's the Just Peachy Mattes palette from Too Faced. I did a review video comparing this to the Sweet Peach palette, which is my go-to everyday palette. I love this palette because it has all the mattes that I need. There are not any mattes missing in here that I'm oh, I wish they added this shade in. It has every transition shade that I need. So I found that throughout the month, I've been using this in combination with some other palettes. I've been using this with the ColourPop I Think I Love You palette. I did a review of that too. I'll link that below for you guys because that shade has, or that palette has more neutral transition shades. And if I want more warm looks, I can get it from here. And sometimes with palettes where I'm missing that perfect transition shade, I dig through my palettes and try to remember what transition shade would work well with this. So I just like it because it has everything that I need. So if I'm missing something from one palette, if I just pull out this palette, it has whatever I'm missing. And if I want to travel with one palette, but I'm afraid it might be too smoky or too natural, then I can make it more intense with this or tone it down with this palette. It's a perfect palette for transition shades, and that's why I bought it. I am not a solid matte eyeshadow person at all. I did a tutorial with this palette doing an all matte look just because I felt I should show you guys that with this palette because it is an all matte palette. But I'm probably never going to do a matte look again until there's another matte palette that comes out. Honestly, I feel a lot of times matte shadows on my lid really close off my eyes. I have small eyes, or I have a small lid, but I have a whole lot of crease. So I like to add shimmers to kind of balance everything out. So I bought this as a transition shade palette. That's how I continue to use it. If you are a matte lover, you will probably love this palette too. You might want a tacky base, a concealer or a matte paint pot, to make your shadows more vibrant and have that matte color really peek through. Otherwise it might look too sheer if you're using it for an all over lid color. So that's definitely something to consider. But if you're going for transition shades, these blend out beautifully. I will leave my review below for you guys, but I'm loving this palette. Everything that I was hoping for in this palette, I definitely got, so I definitely recommend this one as well. So moving into, a lot of things I have are for face, but one more thing that is a eye product. I got this just over a month ago and it has like crusty lash glue on it because I've been using it so much. This is the Buxom Big Tease Mascara. I went to their launch party just over a month ago to test this out, and I've been using it pretty much anytime I'm not wearing falsies. So basically whenever I'm not filming or have like some kind of event, I don't wear falsies just to give my eyelashes a break, and because falsies are expensive and I don't want to waste them on the grocery store. So I've been using this to beef up my natural lashes, and I love this mascara because it's basically like everything that I wish the Better Than Sex mascara from Too Faced was. Like, I like that mascara. It gives me like the right result, but it clumps like crazy. And you get so much fallout with that mascara. So like initially it looks beautiful, but then it's just like a hot mess all over your face. So this gives me a very similar result where you get that like really intense volume, but it does not clump up because the brush is amazing. It's one of those cone brushes where like the tip is shorter, so it's great for like inner corner, and I even use it for my bottom lashes as well. So I really love this mascara because it gives you a lot of volume, it gives you a lot of length, it holds a curl, but it doesn't give you the clumpiness of some other mascaras that claim to do the same thing. So if you guys are interested in like a really like falsies effect mascara, definitely check this out because it's been working out really great, and I like that it has that like finer tip at the end, so I can also use it for my bottom lashes. So next I have two highlighters, and one you guys might know that I already like because I've been talking about it a lot. This is the Fenty Beauty highlighter, the Kilowatt highlighter in Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal. This is one of their duo highlighters. I have a whole Fenty Beauty review as well, and this was my favorite product. I love this so much. I traveled with this for Gen Beauty. I wore it every single day. This is gorgeous, and I do love that there's two different textures and consistencies to these highlighters. I know a lot of people like either want a really minimal highlighter or want a really blinding, but I use both on a daily basis. I always use a really subtle highlighter for my brow bone, for my chin, for my cupid's bow, and then more of a blinding highlighter for my cheekbones. So this works out perfect because sometimes I'm going between like 2 or 3 highlighters just for like one makeup look. So this has like everything that I need for my face in just one. And I've found over the past couple months that cool tone highlighters look awesome on me. Like, I thought they would look horrible, so I always avoided them. Maybe I had like a bad cool tone highlighter experience one time that I can't remember, but I've always worn like really warm highlighters, which I love too. But I find that because I have a really warm undertone, the cool tone highlighters just like balances out my skin in a really pretty way. So I was always like afraid of these kind of shades, but these are gorgeous. They're just so pretty. And they're so pigmented and pretty, and they don't have like that chunkiness to them. So those are the two shades, and you guys can see that they're very, very similar, which I like because they go together really nicely. So they're very similar colors, but the texture is different. So one is a lot more like in your face and one more is more subtle. So I love these so much. I definitely want to get one more of these highlighters, but I really like this duo. And especially if you guys check this out and you think it might be too light for you, if you have like similar to my complexion, try it out, test it out in store and see how you like it, because it actually shows up really flattering because it's not like super, super icy. It blends into my skin. You can still see that it's like a highlighter. It looks like makeup, but it doesn't look like silver, like a stripe of silver on my face or anything. So I've been loving this shade a lot. And the next one is actually a shade I thought I would hate. I bought this for my drugstore makeup tutorial about 6 weeks ago. And I was just looking for a drugstore highlighter to use for that video, and I tested it out beforehand, and I was surprised about the formula, and then I was surprised that I actually ended up liking the color. So this is the Master Chrome highlighter from Maybelline. It's in the shade Molten Gold number 100. I always avoid gold highlighters. I just think sometimes they look like really yellow and end up just kind of making my skin look like more washed out or just really unnatural on my face. But I've been loving this. I'm wearing it today, and you guys can see it doesn't look yellow. It looks more gold and it looks more bronze, but it's not like a yellow highlight at all, which I really love. So I've already used this a ton, in the formula, it's so satin. Like, I cannot believe that this is a drugstore highlighter. And sometimes like drugstore highlighters are good, but this one, it really feels like a $40 highlighter. It feels super like luxurious. It's a lot better than some of my high-end highlighters, and I've been preferring it over high-end highlighters. So that's when I know that I really like something, because I'm like, it's not just good to me because it is cheaper, but it really feels like luxurious. So if somebody were to tell me that this highlighter was $40, I would still end up repurchasing it because it's a really awesome formula. It's super pigmented, super buttery. It's just like a very pretty highlight. So if you guys are interested in this highlighter, if you've seen it at the drugstore, I definitely recommend checking it out, especially if they have other shades too. But I love this one, and I didn't think that I would like a gold highlighter. It just looks very, it still looks pretty natural and bronzy, even though it is more of a gold tone. I just love the formula. It's definitely a great drugstore highlighter and just a great highlighter in general. So next I have something I've been wanting to try for like a year, and I told you guys that I was gonna buy it pretty soon, and I ended up getting this at Gen Beauty. It was gifted to me in like a goodie bag, and I was so excited because I was like about to buy it like within the next couple weeks, because I was just like ready to have it in my life. This is the Perfect Setting Powder by Cover FX. I've only been using this for a week, but I've been using it every single day, and I've been using it both for my under eye powder and my like all over powder, and I love it. I've been using it with different foundations, different primers, and I find that the results are always consistent. So I love this. First of all, the packaging's really like convenient. It is a loose powder, and you just lift this up and you can like dump it out into the cap, and you get like a right amount. It's really perfect for traveling. Compared to like my RCMA powder, I never travel with that because I'm always afraid it's gonna like go everywhere. So I've been very happy using it. I started using it the day I got it. I was just really excited to use this powder, and I've been using it for like nighttime and daytime looks and really natural looks. I've just been doing a lot of different makeup looks in like the past couple of days, and this powder is perfect because it doesn't give you a powdery finish. It really does mattify your face and set your foundation or your concealer, but it does not give you like a powdery or cakey finish. I find that the powder is more fine than my RCMA powder, so I put that away, and I'm going to continue to use this because it is a fine powder. And the reason I've also been using it for my face, if you guys saw my pack with me video, I basically ran out of my Maybelline Fit Me powder. I haven't been able to repurchase it yet. I just need to go to the drugstore and get it, but I haven't repurchased it yet, so I've just been using this as my face powder too. And even though this is not necessarily translucent, it says translucent light, it has a little bit of a color to it. I don't find that it actually like changes the color of my foundation or anything, which I really like. It does set my foundation without looking too matte, so I definitely think that it's worth it. I've been really loving it. From like the first application, I could tell that it was going to replace my RCMA powder, which I still love, but I just think this is slightly better because that is just a little bit drying, and this one works really nicely. And in New York, when I was using it, it was so humid. It was so hot and humid. And when I was at Gen Beauty, it was so hot in there. It was really, really hot. So this held up all day. It did not make my makeup like wear down. It held up just like any other mattifying powder, but it was still very comfortable and not powdery. So definitely recommend this. I've been testing it out a lot under different conditions and with different makeup looks and different foundations. It's worked out perfectly every time. Then there's a foundation I love. I've been wearing this for about 2 weeks now, and I've been putting this to the test too, and I've just been loving this so much. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Foundation. This was sent to me as PR, and I've been wanting to try this for so long. So whenever something like that gets sent to me, I just am so happy because it's like having something on like your Christmas wish list and then like Santa brings it to you. That's how I felt in that moment. And the shade I wear is medium number 6, and I love this. I'm wearing it today. I cannot put this down because it's more of a full coverage foundation, but it doesn't feel heavy at all. So it gives you a really nice coverage, and it also gives you a very like healthy finish. So it gives you more of a skin-like finish. It's not super matte. I don't like anything that looks like really, really matte where it doesn't look like skin. So this gives you a more natural finish, but it doesn't get like dewy throughout the day. So it does set, like whenever you put it on, it's gonna stay that way for hours and hours and hours and hours. And I put it to the test because I worked out a lot of days using this foundation for hours and hours. I told you guys on Snapchat, and it held up like no other, where like my body was sweating, but my makeup was like perfectly in place, which was crazy. So I've been loving this, and I even I wore this to a beauty event a couple days ago where it was a beauty event, but we ended up taking a boxing class. So it's like a kind of weird scenario where you have to look pretty, but you're gonna be working out in front of a lot of people. So this was a perfect foundation for that occasion too. It was outdoors, it was like humid by the beach, and this foundation just held up perfectly. It looks really nice in pictures. It just looks like skin. And going on, I like that it applies really nicely without having it set down or dry really quickly, and you could use it with a beauty blender or brush. I've used both, and it doesn't look too heavy with a brush. It gives you more full coverage, but it doesn't look like super heavy or intense. So I really like this foundation. It reminds me a lot of the Bare Minerals Bare Pro foundation. That one is slightly more matte and a little bit more coverage, but this is very similar to me, and that's like one of my favorite liquid foundations right now. So I've been loving this. I can't put this down. It just feels really nice, and it also has SPF 15 in it. So next I have a primer, and I've used up at least half of this so far. This is the Good Hydrations Primer by Bare Minerals. I've mentioned this in a couple of videos this month, I think like tutorials, in my Pack With Me video. I've been using this so much. I'll show you guys the consistency. It's basically like a lotion, like the Hangover X, the Makeup Forever primer, but it's a bit more tacky. So it also kind of reminds me of the Smashbox Primerizer, but it has more like of a sticky feel to it, so your foundation will stick onto this. It does fill your pores a little bit, which I like, but it's not heavy. So I like that it's really hydrating, but it has that tackiness that some hydrating primers don't have. This is more of a hydrating finish where you're gonna feel that your skin is like nourished from the inside out. It's not gonna like sit on top of your skin. So I really like that because it really absorbs into your skin, but it still gives you that tacky finish to help your foundation stay on, and I've used so much of it already. I definitely recommend it. I definitely recommend checking it out, like swatching in Sephora, and see if you like the texture of that. And then lastly, I have one more product, and this is something that has been talked about a lot recently, and a lot of people have had the same reaction, and I agree. And it's still one of my favorite products. Like, I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm gonna warn you guys, but it's still one of my favorite products. So this is the Infallible Pro Glow Concealer from L'Oreal. And anytime I watch somebody's tutorial and they're trying this out for the first time, I see them apply it and I'm like, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. And yes, it stings. It burns under your eyes. It makes your eyes water when you put it on. I know that sounds awful, but I still love this concealer. I can't help it. Like, it lasts for 2 seconds. It's not like overly dramatic where you feel like your eyes are gonna like fall out, but I still love this concealer. It does, when you go to apply it, it has, I don't know if it's like an alcohol scent or like, I don't know what. When you go to apply it under your eyes, it's gonna sting a little bit, but as soon as you blend it out, like 2 seconds later, it's completely gone. It doesn't irritate my face or anything throughout the day at all, and I absolutely love the finish of it. I've been wearing this concealer, I think, almost every single day, if not every single day, for maybe the entire month. At least the last 3 weeks straight, but maybe the entire month. I've been loving this. I've been using it over a lot of my high-end concealers. It's probably my favorite drugstore concealer. I wear the shade 2, Creamy Natural, and I find that this is really nice because it's maybe one shade lighter than my skin tone, and I don't like a super brightening concealer anymore. I like something that's more like closer to my skin tone, so it's not like super white under my eyes or anything. But I've been really loving this because it is more lightweight. You guys know I really like light concealers. I don't like anything that's too heavy. I do also use a under eye brightener underneath this, so it helps with dark circles. But for concealer, I really like this because it has a little bit of a luminous finish, so it just looks more natural under my eyes, and it doesn't look cakey, doesn't look powdery, it doesn't look dry under my eyes, and I feel like my under eyes tend to get drier. So because this has a little bit more of a luminosity to it, it looks like skin, it looks like my real skin, and not like I put on a ton of makeup to try to conceal under eye circles. So I've been loving this. It's really easy to apply down the center of my face because it is really lightweight and really forgiving, and it just gives like a really beautiful glow to your skin. So I definitely love the finish of this. I've been wearing this non-stop, and even though it does burn a little bit, every time that I use it, I still go back to it. It doesn't stop me from using it. So that's definitely a warning for you guys, because everybody else says the same thing, that it burns under your eyes when you apply it, but as soon as you blend it out, it's just gonna feel just fine. It's not gonna like irritate your face throughout the day, at least for me. So I love the finish of this. I've been loving it over any other concealer in my collection right now, like all month long. I reached for this instead of my high-end concealers, and I definitely recommend checking it out. Alright guys, that's everything for today's video. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my favorites for the month of September. definitely let me know what your favorites were for this month in the comments down below. Let me know if you've tried out any of these products, what you think about them in the comments as well. And if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you guys soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
We